Good morning, YouTube friends. Thanks so much for coming by. Today we have got some fresh local apricots and we are going to make a super simple oatmeal cinnamon apricot muffin. Keep on watching to see how we make them. Alrighty guys, apricots are totally in season in Utah right now. Steve's parents brought us over so many apricots and I'm so excited to cook all sorts of things with them. We are going to start out with just taking about 15 of these apricots. I've rinsed them and I'm going to pit them and put them in a bowl here. This is a perfect way to use up some apricots that maybe are a little bit bruised or aren't quite as pretty because we're going to mash them up and bake them into something anyway. Although all of these apricots are quite gorgeous in my opinion. Got this on fast motion, so you don't have to sit and watch me pit apricots all day long. But once we've got our about 15 apricots, I'm going to toss them in my blender. Then I'm going to blend them at low speed for maybe 7 seconds. Super, super fast. We're just trying to break up the apricots a little bit here to get almost like a chunky applesauce texture. This is going to be a good amount of the wet ingredients for our muffins. So once we blitz them up for like literally 7 seconds, they're going to come out nice and chunky like this. We're going to end up with about 2 cups of this mixture. And that way you can still bite into some apricot. It's not just going to be the flavor, there'll be actual chunks when you bake the muffins, which I personally love in a muffin. Such a fresh and beautiful color. I love it. To this, 2 cups of our apricot puree mixture, chunky puree we're gonna call it. I'm gonna add an entire can of coconut milk. Got a can here from Trader Joe's. I'm just gonna open on up and pour in. And then to that, I'm going to add some vanilla extract and apple cider vinegar that I've mixed together. We're adding that apple cider vinegar so we can have it react with our baking soda as a leavening agent. We're just going to mix that together and then we'll add our dry ingredients and we will be ready to bake. So let's talk dry ingredients here. I have 2 cups of oats that I've blitzed up in the blender beforehand to make an oat flour, along with another ½ cup of oats, some flax meal. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. We got walnuts, cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, and a bit of Swerve sweetener, that 0-calorie sweetener that I keep on talking to you guys about. I feel like I should be sponsored. Because of how much I talk about it, but it just bakes so well. So I added that in and I'm just gonna add it in stages and fold really quickly. One of the things I've noticed about vegan baking is when you use the apple cider vinegar, baking soda as a leavening agent combo, I guess you would say, it starts to bubble up really quickly. So the quicker you can get it into the oven, the more lift your baked good is going to have. So I'm going to just mix it until it's just combined and we will pop them into some muffin tins. This is looking perfect. I'm just gonna grab my muffin tin here. This recipe makes about 18 to 20 muffins depending on how full you fill up your muffin tins. You can totally not use paper liners and spray with a bit of cooking spray and it won't stick. But I love the idea of not using oil, so I had some little papers, so I figured I may as well use them. I'm gonna pop them in and fill our little tins to about 7/8 full, I'd say, pretty full. And then we're gonna pop them in the oven at 350 degrees. I check them at about 25 minutes. And I just wait until, you know, your typical toothpick or knife comes out clean. and you're good to go. This is a very dense and wet cupcake, so it's going to be pretty wet even once it's done. My favorite way to make sure that these end up cooked perfectly is to wait until it's just about clean when you poke a knife into it, then turn off my oven and I just let them cool right down in the oven. They come out perfectly every time. So that's what they look like after they've cooled down entirely in the oven. Now I'm gonna make a quick little glaze for you guys out of some coconut milk. I've had some coconut milk in my fridge for a couple days upside down on purpose. You put it in upside down and then flip it over. All those coconut solids stay in the bottom and the coconut water comes to the top. I have noticed, and comment below if you guys have noticed different brands have different consistencies almost. I feel like this Trader Joe's brand doesn't solidify as well as some other brands, so that's why I decided to use it for a glaze, because it's not going to give us a super thick frosting like texture. As you can see, it started to separate, so I'm just pouring off that coconut water that's mixed with some of the milk here. Usually it totally solidifies, but this is perfect for a glaze for a muffin or a scone, or even to put in your coffee or something along those lines. I love it on top of fruit as well. So we're just getting a little bit more of that super liquidy stuff out, but that's looking pretty good. I'm just gonna pour those solids into our KitchenAid bowl once I've got most of that water out of there. I'm reserving that coconut water mixture to drink on its own, or maybe add to a little bit of apricot juice. I think it might be fabulous. So don't waste it. You can totally use it for something else. I'm going to mix this on up with my whisk attachment, and I'm super excited. I'm going to try out Swerve's confectioner sugar style sweetener. I haven't used it yet. It was on sale, so I thought I'd give it a try because I like the granulated stuff so much. I'm just adding about a cup, add more or less depending on how thick you want your glaze to be. And I'm just going to whisk that around until it's nice and creamy, and add about a half a teaspoon of good quality vanilla, and you are good to go. So we're looking nice and smooth and velvety. We're just going to take this pretty little glaze and spoon it over our muffins here in a nice little stripy pattern. You don't need a ton of it. It's quite sweet. It just gives it a nice pretty look and a little added sweetness. And then I am going to enjoy it with a nice iced coffee with hazelnut creamer for breakfast. But this makes a perfect snack. The oatmeal gives you a nice energy boost. The apricots taste amazing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you're staying safe and healthy, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers.